So this morning I had a telemedicine call with a doctor, which is something I haven't done in 4 years because I've just been out on my own, healing my own problems with naturopathic remedies, and it's been working really well for me. However, I do have thyroid problems, and that one's a little bit more complicated to figure out. So I need blood tests, but it's been really hard to get blood tests because I live in New York, and there's all these like restrictions on who can refer you for blood tests. You can't have someone outside of New York, and you can't do it yourself through like an on-demand service for certain tests. So I was basically like, well, I'm going to have to work with a doctor somehow. So I thought maybe I'll do a telemedicine call, like they'll just see that I have obvious symptoms of like hypothyroidism and I'm just asking for basic tests, like T3, complete blood count, testosterone, just like baseline tests. And I'm like, well, maybe they'll just like give them to me. But anyways, I get on the call and, it's like a nice young intern person. But she starts going into the whole thing of like looking through my chart and she's like, wait, you haven't been to a doctor in 4 years? I'm like, no. And I could just see her looking through the rest of the information like, wait, you're not vaccinated? Nope. Wait, you're not on any medications? Nope. And she's like, so what blood work do you want? I'm like telling her, and then she says, well, okay, we're gonna have to do a follow-up and you're gonna have to come into the hospital for us to be even to be assessed for blood work. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do that because I've had really bad experiences with the medical system and I've cured all these things myself, like allergies, asthma, gut issues, skin issues, energy, focus, like all of this stuff. And then I like listed all of the medications that I've taken that have just made me worse. And it's like, well, it got extremely awkward as expected because like she's a doctor, obviously, and she is very ingrained in the medical system. And she had the like deer in the headlights look, like she didn't know what to do with me. So she got off the call and she went to talk to her supervisor. And I thought maybe there's a shred of hope because she was like, well, I don't know quite what we can do in this situation, but I'm going to go find out. So I thought maybe, just maybe they'll just like order one round of blood tests for me. But no, she comes back and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like we can't do anything for you unless you come in and see us and do a full examination. And you have to commit to us treating you. I'm like, well, fuck that. I didn't say fuck that, but I was very nice. I did my best, even though I don't like the medical system, to be very nice and courteous and thank her for her time and everything. But I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go a different way. And then I pieced off. So it was a very not fun start to the morning. And I felt very discouraged because I don't really know how I'm gonna get blood work. The only other way that I could do it is to work with like an integrative or functional medicine doctor. However, I have experience with functional medicine doctors when I thought that I had Lyme disease and like I went to see a functional medicine doctor and she just tried to get me on like 3 different really strong antibiotics. And I'm like, no, no, this is not the route that I want to go. So there's that, but then there's also the awkwardness of like, I have a naturopathic practitioner, Karen, who I really like working with, who I've gotten a lot of really good results with, but she's not a medical doctor. So she can't order tests, even though she knows how to analyze them and how to base treatment off of them. So it's really frustrating because like, even if I go to an integrative medicine place, it's like, first of all, I'm gonna have to pay all this money out of pocket for it, which sucks. And then also they're gonna want me to get on their treatment plan, So it's like really frustrating. The only thing that I can think to do is there's like this service where you can order a blood testing kit, and I would just have to have it like sent to a family member who could then send it on to me. But I don't know. It's like awkward because I don't know what the legality of that is. I know that companies can't ship blood tests to New York, but I don't know like if an individual person can ship a blood test kit to New York. And it would just be awkward to ask a family member to do that. But it's like, I don't know what else to do. I don't have anyone else that could help me with it. So yeah, so that was my morning. But then after that, things went better. I went for a really cool hike with my dad and he took some pictures and, we hung out and stuff like that. And then I ended the day very nicely with my second session of Reiki, which I'm really getting into now. A few weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, I went for my first session of all time and I kind of didn't know like what to think. Like I sort of enjoyed it, but I wasn't sure if it was really worth it. It's like $100 an hour which is a lot to pay out of pocket. But and like I didn't 100% know if I was like getting the results that I wanted or feeling what I wanted. I didn't really think it was like my practitioner's problem, Courtney. I thought she did a really great job, but I just feel like I've been in this state emotionally for a while where I'm just kind of like frozen, and I can't like unthaw, and things are just not getting through to Andrew emotionally. But the second session was a lot better, and after the first session, it like really hung with me, just like the idea of it, even though it felt like it kind of wasn't permeating into me as much as I wanted to. I just remembered it, like just I don't know, lots of different sensations, like smells, burning incense, and sound, and singing bells, and putting your hands on my stomach, just kind of like feeling the energy of another person. It was, I don't know, it was good. It intrigued me, and I was definitely interested to want to like try again. So I went back today, and I had a much better experience this time. I think I was more prepared to know what to expect, and like I didn't put as much pressure on myself, to feel like absolutely everything. And it was definitely it was definitely better. Um, she did some of the same things, which was cool, but this time, like in the middle of it, she had me do this like visualization thing, and you're doing it with your eyes closed the whole time, like laying on a bed. She just had me. It wasn't complicated. She just had me like visualize like a really happy memory, and so I was just visualizing my dog Heidi running through this field, um, back in this time when she was really sick, and it looked like we were gonna have to put her to sleep, and then she kind of like perked up for this one day. It was really warm outside, and we just let her go in this cornfield, and she's just running around like a puppy, and then she actually ended up kind of getting worse, and so we had to put her to sleep a few days later. But it was just like a really beautiful memory. That's the way that you want a dog to go or a human to go, where they're not in pain for very long, and at the end of their life, and they have something really happy to hold on to as they transition out of this physical form. But then I was also thinking about other memories related to my dog Heidi. Actually, let me get a picture of her. Hold on. So here's Heidi, right there. She was super cute. She was a really well um, well energized dog. Like kind of crazy, but also like crazy in the way of like when we didn't know better, when we had her when she was like 1 year old, we would put her in a crate, right? Like most people did. And we didn't really, I don't know, think about it. It was just like what you did. But when we got home, she would just be so ballistically happy to see us and to be let out of the cage. And then, after she stopped chewing things, we stopped putting her in the cage when I went to school, my mom went to work, and we would just leave her in the house. And it was kind of the same thing when we would come home, because she'd have her paws up on the window. It was like the cutest fucking thing in the world. And she was just so excited when we were coming in the door, and then I'd take her like straight out for a walk or let her out into the yard or whatever. And, we'd play around and stuff. And it was a really happy memory. And I started like tearing up a little bit. And the funny thing about it was that like the tear started like going down so like I'm lying on my back, right? So the tear starts going down my face, and it goes into my ear. And all I could think was like, God damn it, I really want to like scratch it or like wipe the tear away because it's driving me crazy. But I didn't end up doing that, and I just kind of like, I think because I didn't want to break the spell of as it were of what was going on energetically, and also because I'm the type of person who, like, if I'm laying in bed at night and I'm ready to go to sleep, and I notice that I have a fingernail that's like slightly too long, or a hangnail or something, like I have to get out of bed and like trim it, like it'll drive me crazy. So I just think it was a good experience to just like lay there for 45 minutes, and not be bothered by like these small little details that normally would have driven me crazy. To just be still and lay there and not try to do anything. So it was a really good experience. I love to cry. I don't cry very much, but when I do, it's like, it's like a release of energy that you've been holding on to or whatever. and it felt very good. Like the kind of the structure of Reiki, I don't know if this is true for everyone, but my practitioner, Cordy, is also a licensed mental health counselor, so maybe she does things differently. I don't know what other people do. This is my only experience, but she starts off with like 5 to 10 minutes of like talking, like you normally would do in talk therapy, and then you go into another room and do the Reiki stuff, and then you come out and you kind of like debrief. So I think it's a really cool structure. I think like I've been to talk therapy and I've kind of like talked myself out, and it gets exhausting to talk about your problems for like for 50 minutes straight. So I think it's really nice just to like have two small bits of talking followed by all of these different like sensations and touch and sound and light and heat and whatever. And the other cool thing that she did was she put a blanket, like a warming blanket under the bed, because I get cold extremities and my body temperature is usually lower due to probably hyperthyroidism. Yeah, so my body is constantly like burning through energy. I'm like skinny, so it's hard for me to stay warm. And I think that was part of the problem from the first experience, is that like I was spending so much energy trying to keep myself warm that I wasn't like focusing on what was going on. Not that I was like freezing cold or anything, but just it's one of those things where it's like a low level distraction. But yeah, so it was a great experience, and I'm like looking forward to doing it again. And I'm doing 2 times a month, which I think is a good amount, because like I don't want to burn the experience out, because it's been really rewarding to me so far. I think going weekly would be like too much, but 2 times a month feels great because I have something to look forward to. Um, and yeah, after I left, it was kind of funny because I had just come off of this experience with like, the sound of waves whooshing and ambient music and all these beautiful smells and whatever. And then I was really hungry, so I had to stop by Wegmans, the grocery store, and immediately it was just like being bombarded by all this like modern life bullshit, just like sale signs everywhere and like hundreds of people and I don't know, music blasting on the intercom and like announcements and the sound of carts and just like all of the disgusting health products and bullshit like soaps and Pepsi and the candy aisle. And I don't know, it was just such a bizarre contrast between this really relaxing, beautiful experience, which feels like how life should be and how human beings should be, in tribes, connected to each other, not spending time like on social media, like scrolling their phones and like putting earbuds in all of the time, So it was a really weird contrast. I was in the checkout line and I was just looking at the machine, and it was like it just gotten stuck on, I don't know, something, and I was just listening to like all of the people ringing out, like the automated voice. It's like, move your carrots to the move your and I just looked at the guy next to me, and we shared this moment of like eye contact where you're thinking the same thing, and I'm like, the contrast. He's like, dude, I know exactly what you mean. Oh man, I live for those little moments, the human connection with a complete stranger where you're just on the same page, But so I don't know. Overall, a good day. Not a great start with the medical system. I will not be going back to the medical system anytime soon unless I'm like borderline dead. Unless they have to scrape me off of the floor and drag me into the hospital, I will not be going back to the medical system. But yeah, that's all I have to share today. It was a pretty good day, and I hope that you had a good day too. And if you're considering doing something like Reiki, I would highly recommend it. It's already after the second time, I feel really good. I feel some flow reintroduced into my life rather than the sort of like jagged energy that I went in with. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.